Hi! Bet you didn't think you'd see me yet. Alright, time to react. So, Core Gaming put out this video a long time ago. All the way back in July, if you can believe it. About video game commentary. And I thought it was really interesting, and I watched a little bit of it, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna hold off on watching the rest of it. So I'm gonna watch it here and now with you. Stale content, I agree, but this is the first time I can do it. And YouTube doesn't know the difference. They don't give a shit. Core Gaming put out an excellent video about video game commentary and why it's different from normal commentary. And I thought it was really interesting, because not only is Smash commentary different from, like, normal esports stuff, so like League or HOTS or Overwatch or whatever, it's also different from, like, everything else. So it's different from FGC, and it's different from arena shooters. Like, every game has its own sort of ecosystem. And as somebody that's been sort of in Smash commentary from the beginning, at least on the Brawl, and the Brawl, like, how that came upside, I thought it was interesting to look at this video through that lens. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's take a look.
On December 20th, 1980, an NFL game between the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins was nationally televised with no commentary. It was just 3.5 hours of crowd noise, sounds of players hitting each other, and the stadium speaker system. The craziest thing is, this wasn't an accident. It was done on purpose as an experiment by Sports Broadcasting Hall of Famer Don Ohlmeyer.
People have been asking for this for years for Smash, by the way.
Too much, so he thought that maybe they could boost ratings by letting the game speak for itself. This was a moment in broadcasting history where a powerful TV executive seriously questioned the need for commentators. But luckily for every commentator ever, it was the last experiment of this kind. Dick Enberg noted that the final outcome, with much relief, was the fact after watching for a quarter or two, you know something was missing. It was us. While we are not the most important ingredients in the pie, we certainly are a slice of that pie that gives the whole experience full flavor.
So, I didn't know about this experiment, but I thought it was kind of interesting because it certainly rings true for Smash, because there are always people that are like, why do we need this? There's so many people that wish that it was like on a separate audio track so you could disable it, so you could take it off, so that you could change it. And I don't know if this video is going to get into it, but we've sort of been fighting that battle for a really long time. And what it really comes down to is, if you're a huge fan of the game, yeah, you probably don't care about the commentary, but you're not watching it for that same reason.
Not only is this a godlike pie analogy, it's true. Even the games we play have pre-recorded voices that hype up the match.
This should be exciting.
Remind us when we're broke.
Not enough minerals.
And lie about how cool your combo was.
I've never seen a combo that intense!
StarCraft.
I wish Smash had that. Could you imagine how tilting that would be? If a Palutena just neutral airs you 5 times across the stage, and you just hear Sakurai saying, "Impressive!"
If you want to sound more credible and intelligent, you should avoid
Although something kind of important about that is there are certain demos for your game too, right? So for Smash, in my experience at least, you're talking anywhere from like 17 to probably 24 in terms of like actual players. That's usually the player base, at least in my experience. In terms of viewership, it can obviously run the gamut. You have to remember that younger audience is sort of prevalent in what we're doing. So I think a lot of people sort of get mad at commentators for not being a bit more, I don't want to say articulate, maybe dumbing things down a lot or focusing on sort of the minute stuff. But a lot of viewers just don't care, and a lot of them are too young to care, don't know what they don't know.
One of the clearest ways you can speak is by using news anchor voice. You've definitely heard this before.
Thousands have flocked here to Bolivar Peninsula to make the most of their time while out.
Traditional broadcasters are trained to sound like this because it minimizes any regional accents and maximizes clarity by fully pronouncing each syllable. A clear voice that can describe each play in simple language is highly valued in play-by-play commentary because you can listen to it for long periods of time without getting fatigued.
A play-by-play commentator is someone who says literally what's going on the screen, saying, okay, this happened, now that happened, now this happened. A lot of times this is the person who's going to add a lot of hype to the game.
I assume what they're gonna do here is talk about sort of play-by-play versus color, at least in our world, Smash, and probably just more FGC in general. You don't really have that. You have a blending of styles, you know what I mean? And you have very flexible people that can kind of run either role depending on who they're gonna get paired with. This is probably because we don't have enough money or specialization or training to really sort of hone in on those roles, and it obviously leaves you the most open. So if you need like a host guy, you can do the hosting thing, or you can do the hype thing, whatever. In our world, it's important to sort of flex both muscles. It's like left and right brain, I guess. But I know that in some established esports and probably bigger names, it's a little bit more specialized, particularly when it comes to analysts, because analysts are sort of their own mutation of that. And I think it's very easy to tell, like, specialties with every commentator. Like, EE is very clearly not really a play-by-play guy, but he gets the clip and he has the phrase every time, and that's what he's good at. He can do the host. He's been host before, but he really excels at sort of top of the dome stuff. SayJam talked about the difference with FGC commentary pertaining to this because there isn't enough downtime to mention everything going on or analyze an interaction before 3 more have passed. Yeah, particularly true in Melee too. Like, Melee is so fast that you literally can't say everything that's going on. All you can do is sort of pick apart the highlights. It's that way in Ultimate, but obviously way more in Melee, which is a faster game.
Sometimes in TV, people like talk with a fake voice. It's really weird, and I think with the audience for a lot of esports stuff, it doesn't connect with them.
But one way of speaking.
You know what's weird? The YouTuber voice works on YouTube, but it doesn't work on, like, commentary. I wonder what that is. I've never really thought about that. You can do the YouTube voice, and you can, like, get a following, but if you're commentating, I think, like, people will immediately turn that off. Maybe it's because people are more cynical if they're watching competition.
When you're doing, let's say, a more laid-back LAN party-like event, people tend to be more chill. There's more joking around. There's a lot more banter.
I played these kids, and these kids were so mean. They were so awful to me, and they were like 5 years older. They beat me so much. They were talking so much shit. I was so upset, and I'm like,
they ran to the doors like, son,
and I was like, Mom.
And when you compare that to, for instance, these huge stage matches, right? Like the WCS finals, it's like you're going to decide the best StarCraft player in the world, and so you're casting history.
We see this a lot in Smash, whether it's the laid-back, like, weekly style or whatever, against what's happening at EVO or Genesis or an event like that. I can speak to this because I got a lot of shit for EVO finals commentary. I remember one FGC player specifically said that Smash commentary sounds like verbal clickbait. But honestly, it's genuine. EVO 2019 was some of the best Smash I had ever seen, with the highest stakes that I had ever seen. The world championship. But people are honestly going to come into it with a certain expectation of, like, oh, why doesn't this just sound like X or Y or whatever? And I think part of it is you have some commentators that sort of do their thing, like Eris. Eris is funny as shit, but he has a very specific style for Tekken, and he's never going to be yelling and screaming and putting up the moment like that. And I think especially in FGC setting, people expect sort of that approach. I've had people that complain on YouTube videos of locals. I love just lying at locals all the time, because people will be in the commentary and they'll be like, oh, why aren't you treating this seriously? Why aren't you treating this round 2 pools match of people that are going 1-0? Why aren't you treating this like it's winners finals at SmashCon? I can lie. I can have fun. And the idea is the vibe is supposed to be a little bit more chilled and relaxed. And that was back when I went to locals. Whew, it's been a while since then.
I have like a habit where if another person starts speaking to me, I will stop whatever I'm saying no matter what. It's a great commentary habit, but in public, I'll be talking to someone and they just like speak and I just, I'm mid-sentence. I'm like, yeah, the thing is, oh yeah, we could just, and it's like social situations, you have to remember sometimes, like, oh yeah, I should probably continue talking. We're not on air.
The best duos are careful not to talk.
That's absolutely true. That happens to all of us. However, if somebody starts cutting you off multiple times, I don't know about you guys, if somebody starts cutting me off multiple times, I will talk over them, because it's clear that you're not going to bounce off me. But it's a very good habit to have. You should just shut up and let the other guy talk. But there are some people that will not give you the same courtesy. I'll just say that.
over each other because they must acknowledge the presence
guys are
of
great,
the
by the
other
way.
person.
You wanna
Obviously,
work
everybody in
with
this
each other,
video is
because
great.
if
They're
one
all
person
amazing.
is doing hype and the other person is not, that's going to really kill the mood, in my opinion. You don't want one person to be like, ah, da, 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 and the other person's like, nah, this doesn't really matter that much. You know, it's the Immortals are going to hold it. It's like, oh no, you don't want to do that. You have to kind of be on the same page and go up and down together.
I've worked with commentators that are constantly at like this energy level, and usually I'm pretty good at recognizing it and coming back down, but not always, because I can be like way too high. That's a very important skill to have, is like having the same sort of, just being on the same page as the other guy, but also realizing that you can't be at 10 all the time. If you're just at 10 and screaming at literally all times, there's nowhere to go, right? You can't go any higher. You're just there. It's a story that you're telling. It has peaks and valleys and dips, and it's important to try to establish that narrative through volume, through intensity. There's a lot of different ways of doing it. But it sucks when the other guy isn't on the same page. Like when you come out firing. I've had that in finals, where I've come out firing. Boom, it's grand finals, we're gonna blah, 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 and the other guy's like, yeah. I've done top 8s where the other guy didn't commentate at all.
One of the most overwhelmingly powerful things I've ever witnessed was TY winning the 2020 Season 1 Global StarCraft League. This is because he was a caster in the very same tournament he won.
The player that casted our entire tournament, with the exception of the days he was played.
This raises the questions,
That's
how
wild.
much do you have to know about the game, and how good
No, that's crazy. That's crazy. Not for just the reason that he was commentating and won, but commentary at that level is draining. It's exhausting, at least for me. Maybe it's not that way for everybody. I'm like super introvert, so maybe it's just me. I don't like doing it all the time. But like, I assume it's for everyone. Commentating at that level on that stage like that for that long is I can't imagine playing at the same time. And also StarCraft. Jesus Christ. I feel like I might have done that before. I've won a tournament that I've commentated. It was a local. No way it's best in the world shit. That's crazy. What a hero.
The better you are, the more you're going to understand almost always. If you look at an army and you start doing the play-by-play, you should know already, how is this going to end up? How is this battle going
The only caveat to that, I shouldn't have cut him off. I'm sorry.
to occur? Like, just glance at it. If you can't tell which side's going to win, your play-by-play is going to suffer.
I don't think you have to be a pro
now it's the other
at the
guy.
game you're
I don't mean to
casting,
be
but
rude.
the better you are at said game, it's only going to help you.
The only caveat to that, I don't really know if it's some commentators as much as some players that get hyper-focused on certain things and certain interactions, or are only looking at things from one perspective. There are some commentators that are players that will only look at the person who's playing defensively and will call them out on it or trash talk them or whatever, because they don't know how to package the narrative that this guy is playing conservative and maybe a little insecure and nervous, but it might just be a front for making the other guy get too cocky. Like, there are a bunch of different ways that you can package a situation, but if you're a player first and not a commentator first, you don't understand how to package what you're seeing in front of you in a story. You just know the gameplay that you're seeing as a player. So he's not using these moves because of X.
I don't think you need to be good at the game to be a great commentator for that game, but being competent to a degree will definitely help. The reason I say that is because fighting games are often super reliant on execution and reactions, but as a commentator you'll be more focused on the strategy being employed.
They don't need to be experts at it. They don't need to be even like, you know, platinum level or whatever you want to call it. They just need to have probably touched the game and messed around with it some. Other than that, they can do VOD review just fine.
In the past,
I personally think players should be better, or commentators should be better players. That was part of the reason that I got into Smash commentary, is because I was pretty good at the game that I play. I was good at Brawl, and I got annoyed that the people commentating it were just screaming hype men. And now I'm bad at the game and I'm a screaming hype man, so full circle.
This isn't always easy when doing analytical commentary because you might have to use more terminology which your audience
Let's go
might
Smash
not
Wiki.
understand.
What you can do is the first time it comes up in a match, you can contextualize it. I would say stuff like that string that you just saw right there, forward 2-3 from Superman, is really good for X, Y, and Z reason. And then to reward the viewer for paying attention, the next time that 4-2-3 comes up, I was like, there it is again, that 4-2-3 we talked about earlier, we being myself, my co-commentator, and also you, the audience, because you heard it, you were listening. The viewer now knows what it is because it's been pointed out to them. So, you know, you kind of bring the viewer in with you.
That's super good in Smash, because there are a lot of situations like that because of the amount of mobility, the range of movement for players. So it's not just a string or like a jumping habit or whatever. When you're on the ledge and you only have a couple jumps, you normal get up, jump, roll, get up, attack, right? Or just drop off. Identifying a habit and bringing the viewer in on that and making them aware of it is not just bringing them into the game, but it's bringing them into the mind of a player too. Because now you're thinking of it from one player or the other's perspective, and hopefully you're sort of gaining a greater appreciation for what's being put in front of you. And because Smash has so many situations, all fighting games are like this obviously, but Smash has so many because of the verticality of movement, because of the platforms, and because the double jumps, characters' unique attributes like Yoshi's super armor on jump, things like that. It makes it so there's an endless dearth of things to talk about at any given time, and each one of those is something that you can identify, have the viewer sort of open their eyes to, and hopefully, like I said, have them sort of understand the game a little bit better, or at least have a better appreciation for the level of players. One of the things that I really tried to focus on as a commentator as I got worse at the game, I was good at Brawl, I was good at PM. I realized I wasn't going to be good at Smash 4 without playing a lot more, which I wasn't really up to, and like I wasn't going to be good at Ultimate. So I can't provide the same level of being good at the game commentary. So what I want to do is provide the headspace, because the skill set to be good at any certain Smash game is different from game to game. The feeling of competing, that sort of mentality that you have to have, the rush, the pressure and the stakes, that was always what I think spoke to me personally more, and I think it speaks more to the audience, because that's what the audience is more interested in anyway. I think that's the most interesting thing, and I think if you're good at it, that's something that you can take to pretty much most games, especially if you're just a play-by-play guy and you're not like an analyst.
I think it's also having that X factor, being fun, embodying what the game is, you know, not just being a generic TV host, right? But really representing the community, the culture that comes within that game, having a deep appreciation and understanding of the game itself, and also the history, and then knowing how to talk about it in a way that really connects with the people that love the game.
In my experience, that has been a double-edged sword. I absolutely agree that you need to have an appreciation for the culture and you need to represent sort of what the world is. At the same time, it leads to situations where it's very difficult for new voices or new styles to break in. A lot of Smash heads are doing it now because they did it before. You define the culture early on, and you're a part of it, and you grow with it, and you sort of define what Smash commentary sounds like, and you're the voice of it. So if people get on, it's very hard to break through that. It's very difficult to succeed in Smash if you are an analyst. If your style is more cut and dry, and you're talking about frame data, and you're talking about the actual physical, the tangibility of the match, the things that are actually happening in the game, and not making anime references or memes or whatever, it can be tough. It can be harder. Doesn't mean you can't succeed. Just because something is the culture of a game doesn't mean that it's the right thing. Because I do think that there are opportunities for other voices to sort of be represented and elevate what we're doing and what we're watching. But then again, the culture is kind of memey, right? Maybe that's just, is it the chicken or the egg? You want to give the people what they want. If there's ever a day that the top Smash commentators aren't performing, just get them out. I can't make that decision. The only people that can make that decision, I think, are the TOs, because the people have made decisions about commentators, but it falls on deaf ears because people just give them passes. Or, you know, they're homies with the TO or something like that. I think it will be difficult for video game commentary to progress without holding itself to a higher standard. And that means making people actually work. Some of the baseline should just be show up to your commentary block on time. Come on, man. Why is that still a problem?
This was Gerald from Coney Gaming. Thanks for watching. And if you didn't already know, I stream now, so feel free to stop by and chat or sub if you want to spam my cats everywhere.
Follow that.
Proceeds will go to helping the Coney Fighting Game Center survive during this pandemic.
If you guys don't know about this guy's channel, Coney Gaming, I would definitely recommend following it. He makes all kinds of videos, mostly more about frame data or more specific stuff to fighting games, sort of breaking it down for viewers, playing fast and slow. What he'll do is he'll take things like, like frame data, but he'll contextualize it in a way that it makes sense to people who aren't frame data nerds, you know? It's weird, because, like, I don't subscribe, but I always see it when it pops up. I might as well just subscribe. Boom. I really like this video. I think it's very interesting to sort of understand the role of game commentary in each scene, and it's obviously different to every scene. Smash is also kind of unique in that we sort of have these two branching paths too. So we have melee commentary and ultimate commentary, and they're not the same beast, because in melee commentary the game is way faster and it's much harder to do the play-by-play thing without shorthanding a lot of things. You have to like truncate. And meanwhile in ultimate it's less about, for most characters, it's less about the actual execution and the button to button, but it's more about what's going on in the players' heads, what's happening on the stage. It's about playing hot and cold. Momentum is huge. Obviously, it's that way in any game, but I think in Ultimate, especially because of rage factors and because of how quickly characters can sort of rack stuff up. I think our role, the role of Smash commentators, is always, it's the same as anything else. It's to tell a good story, so. Boom. Okay, video down.